Dwayne Johnson finally delivered the dramatic performance critics had been asking for. He stripped away the muscle, the invincibility, and played one of the most vulnerable roles of his career in The Smashing Machine. But here's the problem. That's not why the movie failed. It failed because great performances don't matter when a film misunderstands its audience, its scale, and the limits of star power. And the first mistake happened before the marketing, before the release strategy, before the box office numbers told their story. It happened the moment Johnson assumed that transformation alone would be enough to earn the audience's trust. 1. Mistaking transformation for trust. The first fatal mistake was betting against his own brand. On paper, The Smashing Machine was a turning point. Dwayne Johnson disappearing into the role of MMA legend Mark Kerr, gaining 30 pounds, emotional exposure, raw addiction, pain without punchlines. For years, the question lingered, can The Rock really act? His dramatic pivot under director Benny Safdie was supposed to be the final answer, and at the Venice Film Festival premiere on September 1, 2025, it seemed to be. Critics praised his raw, unflinching performance. But the US box office doesn't reward festival applause. It rewards trust. Johnson made a critical error. He assumed physical transformation and critical praise automatically translate into audience belief. He thought his commitment would override 2 decades of public perception. It didn't. For over 20 years, Johnson trained his global audience to expect a specific, reliable contract. Strength without fragility, confidence without doubt, control without collapse. His brand was reassurance. The Smashing Machine, produced by A24, didn't renegotiate that contract. It ripped it up. It demanded an immediate, jarring leap. Forget the invincible hero from Jumanji or Fast X. Now watch him suffer and fail. That's not how mass audiences work. Actors like Joaquin Phoenix can collapse on screen because their brand is elastic. Johnson's brand was built on unshakable certainty. This vulnerability wasn't an expansion, it was a direct contradiction. As one industry insider noted, he asked his fans to unlearn everything they loved about him in one sitting. The hesitation was instant. Casual fans didn't reject the film, they simply didn't show up. The burning question wasn't, is Johnson good in this? It was the deadly, is this for me? He mistook critical curiosity for mainstream readiness. Audiences buy tickets to fulfill expectations, not to reward an actor's personal growth. This film did neither. It wasn't a bridge, it was a sudden demand for belief with no runway. That miscalculation killed momentum before the fight even began. The second fatal mistake? A film without a clear audience. If the first error broke trust with his fans, this one erased the audience altogether. From the moment the first trailer dropped on April 29, 2025, a paralyzing question hung over every piece of marketing. Who was this actually for? The answer never came. Johnson's core fans, conditioned for the spectacle of the Fast and Furious franchise, were presented with a bruising A24 drama about addiction and collapse. It wasn't a deviation, it felt like a rejection. Meanwhile, the prestige audience that flocks to A24's challenging films saw a star whose entire brand screamed global action product. To them, his presence didn't signal seriousness, it signaled a confused marketing gimmick. The campaign fatally split the difference. The trailers hinted at grit, but awkwardly spliced in inspirational music. The press coverage oscillated wildly, with The Hollywood Reporter calling it a career-defining performance, while entertainment blogs framed it as an unexpected sports drama. There was no clear promise. Was this an unsettling character study or a motivational comeback tale? The film never chose, so the audience never did either. In Hollywood, confusion is death. Every hit answers 3 questions. What is this? Who is it for? Why see it now? The Smashing Machine failed all 3. By trying to please everyone, it pleased no one. As one industry analyst bluntly put it, they tried to sell art house pain to a multiplex crowd. The structural mismatch was glaring, a niche sports addiction drama fronted by the world's broadest appeal star. Audiences didn't debate if it was good or bad, they debated if it was for them. When a film forces that calculation, the result is always the same. They opt out. This was a catastrophic failure of positioning. Films don't fail when audiences reject them. They fail when the invitation is so blurry, no one recognizes themselves in it. By refusing to define its audience with conviction, the Smashing Machine didn't offend anyone. It simply became invisible. And an invisible film is a dead film. 3. Releasing a niche film like a blockbuster. If the audience was confused, the financial strategy guaranteed a bloodbath. The Smashing Machine wasn't treated as a patient character study. It was launched like a global event, with a reported budget ballooning to $50 million, a staggering sum for an unflinching sports drama. The film entered dangerous, unforgiving territory. Budgets dictate survival. Yet instead of a slow platform release to build prestige, the studio greenlit a wide release into over 3,000 theaters for its December 2025 debut. This is a strategy designed for one thing: explosive opening weekends. But let's be clear, gritty addiction narratives do not open big. They build, or they die. By going wide immediately, the film was denied its only advantage: time. Time for word of mouth from its Venice premiere to spread. Time for critics' praise to spark curiosity. Instead, it was judged in 48 hours. The result was a brutal $6 million opening. The wide release exposed it to unprepared mainstream crowds while failing to create the exclusive prestige that draws adult drama fans. Screens vanished within weeks. Internationally, the problem worsened. MMA narratives have limited global appeal. As one box office analyst from Deadline noted, they priced a film that needed to make $125 million just to break even like it was Jumanji. The math was never there. This was the quiet cruelty of misaligned scale. A $20 million version, released carefully, might have been a success. The $50 million version, dumped wide, had only one possible outcome: a loud, public failure. Mistake 3 wasn't about art, it was about arrogant arithmetic. It treated Johnson's star power as a universal solvent, believing it could dissolve all genre limitations and financial logic. It couldn't. In Hollywood, the numbers always win, and they wrote a verdict no amount of critical praise could erase. 4. Marketing that refused to make a choice. The fourth fatal mistake was a marketing campaign that refused to make a choice. If the financial strategy was doomed, the promotion ensured no one would even notice. When a film lacks identity, marketing must impose one. The campaign for The Smashing Machine, led by A24's team, did the opposite. It hedged. Every piece of promotion felt cautious and sanded down, trying not to alienate anyone. And in doing so, it failed to energize anyone. The main trailer was the prime culprit. It hinted at darkness, but retreated before showing real discomfort. It suggested addiction without confronting its grim reality. It showed Johnson's physical transformation, but carefully avoided the emotional cost. There was no defining hook. Compare this to A24's own successful campaigns for films like The Whale, which unflinchingly centered on Brendan Fraser's transformation. Marketing must create urgency, but nothing here screamed, "See this now." Was this an unsettling descent or a redemptive sports story? The campaign never answered. The digital strategy compounded the error. Heavy investment went into platforms like Instagram and TikTok, targeting Johnson's young, action-loving followers, the demographic least likely to buy a ticket for a somber drama. Meanwhile, older audiences on Facebook or in curated email lists who actually seek out A24's prestige projects were barely targeted. As one marketing insider told Variety, they used a megaphone to whisper into the wrong room. Even Johnson's praised performance was sold defensively. The narrative focused on the hard work of his physical change, not the daring artistic rupture it represented. Headlines talked about a different Rock, not a disruptive one. That distinction is deadly. Audiences respond to bold declarations. Marketing that whispers suggests uncertainty. Compounding this was the brutal release date of October 3, 2025. The film opened the same weekend as a major pop culture event involving Taylor Swift, which dominated media attention and premium screens. The marketing also failed to create a sense of urgency, leading many potential viewers to decide to wait for streaming. 5. When the brand becomes the obstacle. The fifth and final fatal mistake was the brand itself. If every previous error weakened the Smashing Machine, this one explains why none were corrected. The core problem wasn't marketing or release dates, it was the immovable object at the center of it all, Dwayne Johnson's own meticulously engineered brand. For over 2 decades, Johnson and his $7 Productions team built more than a career. They built a promise, reliability, dominance, victory through effort. The man who, as he famously posted, always shows up. That brand didn't just sell tickets, it built an emotional fortress. The Smashing Machine demanded that the fortress be demolished. The film required him to be fragile, broken, and uncomfortable to watch. Artistically, that was the point. Commercially, it was suicide. The final error was underestimating his brand's rigidity. Vulnerability works when it feels like a revelation, as with Robert Downey Jr. in Chaplin. Here, it felt like a glaring contradiction. Audiences didn't doubt his effort, they recoiled because it dismantled the entire emotional framework they relied on him to provide. The brand that guaranteed engagement for Moana and Jungle Cruise now created active resistance. As critic Scott Mendelson observed, it was a profound case of brand miscasting. This is the hidden tax of prolonged dominance. When a persona becomes too polished and predictable, guarded by a disciplined social media team and relentless positivity, it loses all elasticity. It can't bend, it can only break. Instead of expanding his range gradually through supporting roles in dramas, Johnson, backed by A24's $50 million, attempted a full-scale invasion of new territory in one shot. The audience never enlisted. When a star's brand and a film's needs pull in opposite directions, the film always loses. The failure of The Smashing Machine is a diagnostic moment for Hollywood. It proves that even the most powerful star power has limits, and a brand can become a cage. Johnson didn't fail because he took a risk. He failed because he took the biggest risk of his career against the strongest wall he ever built, his own image. The very discipline that made him a global commodity left him stranded in an intimate story. In the end, the film didn't collapse under bad reviews. It suffocated under the weight of an icon that could no longer breathe. And that is the ultimate Hollywood secret. When the brand becomes more important than the story always, always dies. Conclusion: the failure that redefined the rules. By the time The Smashing Machine completed its disastrous theatrical run, the excuses were already circulating. It was the October release date, the competitive landscape, a fickle audience. But for those who track the receipts, none of those convenient narratives hold up. This failure wasn't sudden, it wasn't bad luck, it was a blueprint for disaster, constructed decision by decision, long before the first trailer ever dropped. Dwayne Johnson didn't fail because he gave a bad performance. Critics at Venice in September 2025 swore he did the opposite. He didn't fail because audiences reject seriousness. He failed because every fundamental rule of star-driven commerce was ignored. A physical transformation was mistaken for audience trust. A niche, a 24 film was made without a defined audience. A $50 million drama was released at Blockbuster scale against Avatar 3. A marketing campaign chose caution over conviction. And an invincible brand was ordered to sell vulnerability overnight. Each choice narrowed the margin for error. Together, they erased it completely. The Smashing Machine redefined the rules, not by collapsing, but by exposing a hard limit Hollywood pretends doesn't exist. As one veteran studio head told The Hollywood Reporter, "This is the case study. It proves star power is not a universal solvent." Critical praise does not create mass demand. Audiences cannot be commanded to emotionally realign. Perception will always trump intent. Positioning will always defeat effort. And no amount of personal discipline, from the man who trademarked the term hardest worker in the room, can save a project that fundamentally misunderstands who it's for. The real tragedy is that this was predictable, not because the story of Mark Kerr was unworthy, but because the system around it, from Johnson's $7 Productions to A24's ambitious gamble, refused to adapt to its reality. In the end, this isn't a lesson about acting. It's a brutal reminder of an older, colder truth. Power in this town doesn't come from being everywhere at once. It comes from knowing precisely when and how to change. Johnson misread the audience that built his empire, and in the ultimate silent verdict, they didn't revolt. They simply, definitively, walked away. The house always wins. And in Hollywood, the house is built on the cold, hard math of audience expectation.